Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch from Crime Talk, and thank you for tuning in. We hope you all had a Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah, and also a Happy New Year to all. First on the docket, an update on the Heidi Broussard matter. Second, don't mess with Texas. Third, Grafton Thomas, the Hanukkah stabbing suspect in New York, is charged in both state and federal court. Who is watching your children when they go to daycare? And finally, our dumb criminal contestant of the day, what not to say to the police. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is Scott Reisch of Crime Talk, and yes, we hope you had a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and we wish you all a prosperous New Year. We will be here tomorrow on New Year's Eve, and we will have our kind of year-in review, so we hope that you join us. And if you like our channel, please hit that subscribe button. If you like our video, hit that thumbs up, and please leave us a comment. We want to know what you think about what we talk about. So first on the docket, the Heidi Broussard matter, an update. For those who are not familiar with this case, Heidi Broussard went missing 2 weeks ago now. Heidi Broussard had a son from a previous gentleman. She was currently dating/engaged to a gentleman by the name of Shane Carey. Shane Carey, the boyfriend/fiance, reported Heidi missing. Well, it turns out that Heidi's good friend, Megan Firmuska, had Heidi in the trunk of her car, and her 3-week-old daughter was in Miss Firmuska's house. Now, to date, Ms. Firmuska has only been charged with tampering with evidence as well as multiple counts of kidnapping. She has not officially been charged in the death of Heidi Broussard. I think that will be coming shortly. This was an interesting case because lots of people thought that the boyfriend was acting suspicious. I kind of reserved judgment. It turned out he had nothing to do with Heidi's disappearance at all. Now, this is getting really interesting because, and her attorney has come out and said, obviously, that the prosecution has to prove each and every element of the case, which they do. And she has said that her client, Megan Firmuska, had nothing to do with the death of Heidi Broussard. So this is an interesting set of facts. And we've done our research here, and I find this rather interesting because we had a very similar case here in Colorado not long ago where a mother-to-be went to a home responding to an ad to purchase new baby clothes or slightly used baby clothes from a woman that was allegedly selling them. Well, the lady lured this young mother to the basement and literally performed a cesarean section on her and removed the child, leaving the mother basically to what the perpetrator thought was she was going to die. She did not die. The mother actually got up enough strength, literally crawled upstairs and called for help and was found. And the perpetrator is now serving a lengthy prison sentence. But this is what is referred to as womb raiders. It's cases of fetal abduction. Now, you can find documented cases of fetal abduction referred to as a fetal theft or cesarean kidnapping and baby snatching. Oftentimes, these women who do this are referred to as womb raiders. Now, the first documented case of this, and I doubt it was the first that it ever took place, occurred back in 1974, and the next case was some 13 years later in 1987, followed by numerous cases, once again in 1996, 98, 2000, through 2015. Now, there's not much data out there because, frankly, these are rare cases. But in all of these cases, there seems to be a lot of methodical and planned execution to the attack. Almost all of these perpetrators told their partners and families that they were, in fact, pregnant. and most of them decided to abduct a fetus because they believed it would salvage their relationship in some way or another with their partner. There also seems to be a pattern that prior to abducting the fetus, almost all of the women made an effort to validate their claims of being pregnant. They would wear maternity clothes. They would get fake sonograms off the internet or from other people, and they would always come up with a way to extend their due dates. So although the Heidi Broussard case doesn't necessarily involve a case of a womb raider removing the fetus from the mother, the mere fact that Megan Fiermirsko had Heidi Broussard in the trunk of her car and the infant child in her home makes one believe it's very similar to what is referred to as these womb raider cases. We're going to continue to follow this one because I think it's going to be very, very interesting. Let me know what you think. Now, our next case on the docket is Don't Mess with Texas. Now, Texas, there are a lot of guns in Texas, and a couple of years ago, the Texas legislature passed a law allowing basically churches to have their own parishioners be security personnel. And in this particular case, and for those who haven't seen it, we'll put the video up. I think the video that we have kind of blocks out the real graphic stuff, but you'll get the drift. So the gist of this case, and you can see it from the video here, is this gentleman by the name of Keith Thomas Kuhneman. He's 43 years old. He's kind of a homeless guy, hangs out around the West Freeway Church of Christ in White Settlement, Texas. Now, you can see from the video he is wearing some sort of black hoodie and apparently pulls out a shotgun and unfortunately kills two parishioners there, and Anton Wallace, who is 64, and Richard White, who are 67. Mr. Kuhneman picked the wrong church, and thank God he didn't kill more than just two people. It's unfortunate that he killed anyone, but the fact that the number was only two is a tribute to the fact that one of the security officers there by the name of Jack Wilson basically took out his firearm as the church security personnel, who's a volunteer, and with one shot hit Mr. Kuhneman. Mr. Jack Wilson apparently has been in the military, did a little bit of police work, and then did some private security and some other jobs, and has also been teaching firearm training over the years. So I'm sure the parishioners at the West Freeway Church are pleased that he was there, and that obviously we mourn the loss of anyone and their two parishioners there that day. But at least it was ended with a good guy with a gun. Now, obviously, Jack Wilson, the man who shot the shooter here in the church, is not going to be charged with anything. This is a classic case of self-defense and defense of others. And no prosecutor in the land would ever take this case against someone who prevented a deadly shooting like this taking place. This man should get a medal for what he did. There were lots of people in that church that had guns, but he's the one that pulled that trigger, and one shot, one kill. Next on the docket is the Hanukkah stabbing suspect case regarding Grafton Thomas. Now, Mr. Thomas is alleged to have gone into the home of Rabbi Rottenberg, who lived right next to the synagogue and where he is, in fact, the rabbi. This neighborhood of Muncie, New York, is an enclave of ultra-Orthodox Jewish families, and they were celebrating Hanukkah. Well, Mr. Thomas goes into the residence and stabs and attempts to kill 5 people in the room. Now, Mr. Thomas has been charged in state court with 5 counts of attempted murder and 1 count of burglary. Burglary is you enter the dwelling of another with the intent to commit a crime therein. Obviously, I think it's pretty logical that one could say he went into that home to hurt people. That's burglary. attempted murder, you have the intent to kill them. You start stabbing people and swinging a machete at them, that's a pretty good case, pretty good argument for attempted murder. Once the police arrested Thomas later that evening at his home in Harlem, they found writings of Mr. Thomas stating that he was a member of the Black Hebrew Israelite movement, which is an anti-Semitic group, as well as writings and ramblings about Hitler and the calling for the death of all Jews. As a result of that, Mr. Thomas has been charged in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York with 5 counts of obstruction of free exercise of religion. And once again, that's based on the fact that he attacked these people because of their religious affiliation and belief. Now, the family for Mr. Thomas and his attorney are claiming that Mr. Thomas has mental health issues, that he's been in and out and received treatment for mental health issues, and no doubt his attorneys are going to be exploring that as a possible defense in this particular case. Was he not competent? Is he competent to proceed? Is he insane at the time of the event? Alleged event. Obviously, he's given the presumption of innocence, and we will follow that case as it proceeds as well. It just doesn't make any sense to me in America, which has the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, which is the free exercise of religion. There is no state religion. People can practice any religion they want. And if somebody doesn't like somebody else's religion, you know what? Let it go. They get to do that. That's why it's called America. We'll see what the justice system has in store for Mr. Thomas. Now, our next 2 cases come from Colorado. Now, the first one is a woman by the name of Carla Faith. She's charged with 2 counts of reckless child abuse without injury and 1 count of trying to influence a public servant. Now, this case is somewhat interesting and bizarre in its own little way. Apparently, Miss Faith has a daycare business, and for most people who do not know, you are limited to a certain number of children in a home-based daycare facility, and you still need to be licensed by the state. Obviously, if you have a lot of children, you need a much bigger staff, and you need to have a much bigger area for the children to play, and obviously for, like I said, the staff to assist them. The Colorado Springs Police Department were called to the residence of Miss Faith on a complaint of basically child neglect, and they went in to look into licensing issues. As the police were looking around, as Miss Faith said, sure, take a look around, the police could apparently hear children crying and making noises, but they couldn't see any children at all. And in fact, there was a pile of backpacks that was stacked up, and the police inquired, why are there so many backpacks here? And Miss Faith stated that she was volunteering cleaning backpacks for a youth soccer team that she had volunteered to help. She's just a good citizen now, isn't she? Now, once the police asked Miss Faith about the noise from the children that they can hear and not being able to see any, Miss Faith refused to cooperate any further. The police continued to investigate, and they found a false wall that led to the home's basement, according to the police. Now, when they walked downstairs, they located 2 adults and 26 children inside the finished basement, all of whom were under the age of 3. Ultimately, the Department of Human Services is going to be involved, which will result in the immediate suspension of Miss Faith's daycare license. And it's unlikely that those parents would return back to Miss Faith in any way to watch their children. I'm sure most of those parents thought that their children were being properly cared for, and there were only a few children in the house. Now, you think, wow, what else could we say about this particular case? But wait, there's more. 3 employees worked there. A Miss Caitlin Nelson, 31, Christina Swagger, 35, and Valerie Fresquez, 24, were also arrested relating to the discovery of the children in the residence. Miss Swagger has been charged with attempting to influence a public servant along with misdemeanor child abuse, and she was also ticketed for basically smoking/possession of marijuana while acting as a caregiver in a child care facility. Miss Nelson was charged with unlawful possession of a Schedule II controlled substance, which could include lots of things, but it's obviously controlled. Normally that's methamphetamine, cocaine, all those street drugs, so to speak, usually is what Schedule II are. And Ms. Fresquez was simply charged with misdemeanor child abuse. All four have court appearances on January 2nd, and we will see how this case proceeds. But it really makes you wonder, what the hell goes on when you drop your kids off at childcare? Cases like this really make you think. And finally today, our dumb criminal contestant of the day, who can ultimately be the possible winner of the dumb criminal contestant of the week. And what can he get? Yes, he can get a Crime Talk mug. Now, oftentimes I get asked, hey, Scott, has anybody actually claimed the dumb criminal of the week mug? Not yet. But we may have someone who has a shot here. Why? Because this person is from Jefferson County. Now, Todd Sheldon, and once again, he's presumed innocent, 36, was caught trying to break into cars in Jefferson County. That's just west of Denver, kind of right as you head into the mountains. But he was caught by the homeowners. And just as the police were arriving, Mr. Sheldon escaped. Well, as the police went looking for Mr. Sheldon, they found him just down the street trying to break into another vehicle. And they were trying to break into the vehicle, and he basically said, hold on, I can't. I'm trying to steal this truck. Yes, that's right. He confessed while he was trying to steal the truck to the police as they approached him. Ultimately, he's arrested, booked in, and while they're asking him further questions at the police department, he admitted that he was attempting to steal trucks and, quote, I really suck at this, end quote. Yes, in fact, you do, Mr. Todd Shelton, really suck at this, and that's what has made you our dumb criminal contestant of the day. Now, if you are the dumb criminal contestant of the week, you will get a Crime Talk mug. I think you can do it. I think you can do it there, Mr. Sheldon. That's all we've got for you today. Like I said, hope everybody has a wonderful new year. We will be here tomorrow, and we will have our year in review. Hope you enjoy that. Additionally, we want to talk about what cases you think we need to follow coming up. There's a lot. It's been kind of slow, but after the first of the year, look out. It's going to get busy. And finally, we would like to thank each and every one of you. Our little channel would not be possible without all of you. We do not take it lightly. We know you have lots of choices out there to watch, and the fact that you want to watch our channel, we appreciate that. We try to give it to you straight, and we try to let you know all sides and just give you the facts, and we hope you appreciate that. We certainly appreciate you. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a happy new year.